Hollow Hooves. You ever notice how some towns just sound empty? Like the silence isn't peace, it's waiting. That's how I describe Hollow Creek, Maine. Population, barely breathing. I grew up there. Worked the night shift at Danner's Feed and Supply, the only place in 50 miles that sold hay, salt blocks, and secondhand saddles. And me? I wasn't anybody special. Just a guy trying to keep the lights on and the past shut up. Hollow Creek's the kind of place where people talk quiet and I move slower and look over their shoulders a little too often, as if the shadows might be listening. The air's thick with pine sap and old stories. You can smell the lake from town, though no one swims there anymore. Not since the water went black that one summer. But every night around closing time, I'd hear it. Clip, clop, clip, clop. Hooves, slow, heavy, hollow. The strange part? There hasn't been a horse in Hollow Creek for 15 years. Not since the barn fire. I used to laugh it off. Tell myself it was pipes or wind or the hum of my tired brain. But you can't mistake that rhythm, that echo that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. Once I followed it to the back door, pressed my face to the glass. The parking lot was empty, black as pitch, only the wind moving through the weeds. But the sound kept going, right up behind me. I turned, heart hammering, and for half a second I swore I saw it, a shape in the reflection. The first time I heard it, I figured it was the wind kicking something loose. Second time, I went outside with a flashlight, nothing but fog and frost biting my breath. By the fifth night, I stopped pretending it wasn't real. It wasn't just the sound. It was the smell, that burnt coppery tang of old ash and rain-soaked leather. And the tracks, shallow like hooves pressed into mud that wasn't there. They'd vanish by morning. Always, like the earth refused to remember. I started sleeping less, watching more. My boss said I looked pale, jumpy. He joked about ghosts in the hayloft, and I laughed too, though my laugh came out cracked and small. One night, I followed the sound past the feed store, down to the old Miller barn, the one with the roof half caved and the fire scars crawling up its boards like black veins. The moonlight hung on the metal hinges, and I swear they shivered when I touched them. Inside, the air was thick, heavy. Every creak of the floorboard sounded like breathing, and there it was, carved into a beam above the door, a name scorched deep into the wood. D. Keene, my name. That's when I dropped the flashlight. The beam rolled across the floor and hit something glinting in the corner. A horseshoe, blackened and cracked, still hot. I grabbed it, burned my palm. The smell of char filled the barn again, sudden, choking. And in that moment, the world seemed to tilt. Behind me, hooves struck the ground once, twice. A breath like steam brushed the back of my neck. I ran. Didn't stop running until the town lights came into view. And even then, the echo followed me, faint, distant, but constant. Mrs. Dalrymple saw me that night, shaking outside the diner. She didn't ask what happened, just poured me coffee and said softly, "You can't outrun what's tied to you, son." I wanted to ask what she meant. Wanted to tell her about the name in the wood, the burning metal, the breath. But all I could do was listen to the faint sound outside the window, clip coming closer. It happened on a Thursday, the kind of night the air feels bruised before the storm even breaks. I was alone at the feed store. The others had gone home early when the clouds rolled in thick and swollen. The radio sputtered out mid-song. The lights flickered twice, then died. Silence. A living kind of silence. The kind that hums against your ribs. And then clip, clop, right outside the door, I froze. My breath turned to glass in my chest. I went to the window, flashlight trembling in my hand. The fog outside wasn't just hanging. It was moving, curling like it had a pulse. And through it came a shape. A horse, but no horse that should have existed. Its coat shimmered like burnt tar, and its eyes burned orange, the way wood glows after it's done screaming. Every step it took made the ground hiss, and the sound, that hollow ring, hit something deep inside my skull. Then I saw the thing on its back, a rider, or what was left of one. Skin gone to ash, bones blackened and half glowing beneath the rot. Its fingers curled around the reins like melted glass. When it lifted its head, I saw what was underneath, me. My own face, blistered, scorched, eyes empty as a grave. It spoke my name, not the one on my driver's license, my real name, the one my mother used to whisper before she tucked me in, before she and my father screamed in that barn, before the world turned orange, and I learned how fire can erase everything except guilt. That's when it hit me. I lit that match. I started the fire. I killed them. My family, the horse, everything. The rider dismounted, boots hissing in the wet dirt. Each step it took left small rings of fire that sank into the earth like veins. I backed away, hit the feed counter. The smell of hay mixed with smoke and rot. "Come home," it said, voice like coals cracking in a hearth. And for the first time since that night, I didn't run. I stepped forward, and the fog swallowed us both. The next morning, Hollow Creek woke up to the smell of smoke again. The kind that seeps into your skin, stays under your nails, makes every breath taste like the past. The feed store was gone. Nothing left but a skeleton of black beams jutting from a bed of ash. The metal sign out front, Danner's Feed and Supply, hung half melted, swaying in the heat that still shimmered off the wreckage. They found me a mile down the road, barefoot, soot streaked up my arms, clothes stiff with dried rain and blood that wasn't mine. I don't remember walking there. I don't remember anything after stepping into that fog. The sheriff said it was lightning. Everyone nodded. That's what people do in towns like this, pretend stories end where explanations begin. But lightning doesn't leave hoof prints. They were faint, half sunk into the mud along the road. Big, round, and hollow in the middle, like something had pressed through time itself. But by noon, they were gone. The ground smoothed over as if it had decided to forget. Mrs. Dalrymple came by the clinic where they kept me. She brought pie, like she always does when she doesn't know what else to say. Her hand trembled when she set it down. "It's over now," she whispered, but her eyes said she didn't believe it. I tried to tell them what I saw, the horse, the rider, me, but every word turned to smoke before it left my tongue, like something didn't want it spoken aloud. Nights are the worst. The quiet here isn't the kind you rest in. It breathes. When the wind rolls down from the hills, it carries the faintest sound, soft, deliberate, and far too familiar. Clip, clop, clip, clop. I tell myself it's the old boards settling or my heartbeat echoing wrong in my ears. But sometimes, just as I start to drift towards sleep, I catch the scent again. That faint copper burn of wet ash and horsehide. And then I know the past doesn't vanish, it circles back. And somewhere out there, in the fog that clings to Hollow Creek, something is still walking, looking for me. It's been weeks since Hollow Creek burned itself out of me. I packed what little I had left and drove south until the pine gave way to field, until the fog finally thinned to a shimmer in the rearview mirror. New town, new job, new name. People here smile too easily. They don't ask questions when I flinch at thunder or when I keep the lights on all night. But the quiet here, it's different. Not the kind that waits, the kind that listens. Some nights just before dawn I hear it again, faint, distant, impossibly slow. Clip, clop, clip, clop. Like it's pacing the edge of town searching for a familiar sin. Once I woke to the smell of smoke, not wood smoke, not from a stove, barn fire smoke. That wet, bitter tang that clings to you even after the washing. And when I looked down, my feet were black with ash. No footprints in the room. No soot on the floor. Just the stain on my skin, as if the earth itself had reached up to remind me. I've started talking to it, whispering apologies into the night, to the thing that wears my face and rides the horse I killed. Sometimes the wind answers. Sometimes it doesn't. You ever hear hooves in the dark? If you do, don't open the door, because some ghosts aren't coming back for justice. They're coming to finish the ride. And maybe that's what I deserve, to ride until the sound finally stops. So if you're listening to this, if you made it all the way through, thank you for stepping into the dark with me tonight. If you felt the chill of Hollow Creek, or maybe heard a faint echo behind you while listening, do me a favor. Like this video to help it find more curious souls. Subscribe for more stories every single day, and share it with someone who loves the strange, the haunted, the human. There's another story waiting for you right now. It should be showing up on your screen. Go ahead, click it if you dare. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, listen carefully, because the sound never really stops.